Welcome to Wanna Bet, the daily gambling game show that takes betting seriously, but not much else. Get our favorite plays on the totals, sides, props, exotics, and futures to jump on now.
So let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Subjects and chemicals about the concept fairly known. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Jason. That's Ben. This is Wanna Bet. We are fired up to be with you guys on a glorious NFL Sunday. A lot going on in the world of sports. Today's show is going to have a heavy football bent, but don't worry. We're keeping an eye on MLB markets. We're all over soccer, as always. Ben's looking at WNBA. So we've got everything covered, but more than anything else, football. If you're new to the show, first, second, third down are three favorite bets we've made since yesterday's show. And there's always a yesterday show because we do this 7 days a week, even 8:30 in the morning sometimes when we have to accommodate our schedules. Fourth and long, could be fourth and short, a quick hitter to get you paid early in a game, first quarter, first half, first 30 minutes of a soccer match, things like that. Or it could be more of a long-term play like a futures play, maybe even a futures parlay. Over time, we're all about NFL parlays this time of year because why wouldn't we be? And we're all about transparency. So Beltway Ben, how did it go yesterday? Man, could have really used a goal out of Frankfurt. They had plenty of chances. And even Bayern Munich finishing not quite what it had been recently. Harry Kane misses a sitter late in that game. We hit a couple of posts. Had a chance for a fourth from Bayern in injury time. Couldn't bring that one home. We had a couple Bayern parlays that just missed. We did have Brighton come through for us this morning. We would have loved a win. The own goal early hurt us in terms of the win, and that killed a three-leg plus 275 Premiership parlay we really liked. What are you going to do? We're getting better in college football. That's a good sign. If you did jump on that Troy with me as well that was on the Discord and I whispered about here, that was a winner. Beltway Ben, how did Saturday go for you? Looks like it went pretty damn well.
Yeah, well, we're starting to roll it up. And throughout the week, we gave out a number of parlays, a number of plays that also cashed. We had the plus 300 parlay. We had the plus 101 Washington money line involved, and that was done. I was fine with it being a loss, but Washington comes back and win to get it. And then the we had two losses. We had a parlay yesterday that lost, but Aaron Judge to walk. Aaron Judge had a 3-2 count against Gaussman and chased a splitter lone away. It was pretty clear walk for me, and then comes up in the top of the 8th, and I thought
he's loaded.
Well, that was the first one. That was the one he chased, and he worked that to a 10-pitch count. But then he comes up in the 8th, has a 3-0 count, and I'm like, wow, all right, he's gonna walk, fouls one off, and then hits a double. So that was a tough loss, but again, I can't be too mad at the day when we're up as much as I was. I mean, it was great. Like I said, the Cincinnati. We had them in a parlay. We had Duke by themselves. We had Duke in a parlay. So it was a very, very good day.
Excellent. All of our plays in real time, along with Eric Casilius and some other handicappers, are available in that super Discord. A lot of different ways you can get involved there. If you scan that QR code, everything will be broken down for you there. Anytime we make a bet, we go to the Discord and we register where we did it, how much, what the odds were. We're obviously shopping for the best value in real time. And a lot of times when we bring some of these bets to you guys here, the value has already started to dissipate because that's what happens. So there you have it. We are transparent. I have not had a great October, had an amazing August, had a pretty good September. We got to turn it around. And today's a great day to do it. Beltway Ben, first down. Where are we going?
Yes, first down, we will be going to the Kendry Miller play. And I talked to you guys about it a little bit the other day that I was probably going to be on it. And ultimately, I decided to go with the here on first down. The Giants are last in EPA against the run defensively. 6.1 yards per carry they're allowing as well. And there's some times where yards per carry is a weird stat because you can have a guy have a 90-yard rush, and the rest be fine, but you're still giving up a ton of yards per carry because it was just one big play. That's not the Giants. They get torched pretty regularly by whoever is the running back, and it's not just big gains. It's also some small stuff. And I said it last week with Omari and Hampton. I couldn't believe they didn't go to the run early. As soon as they did, he busts one for 75-yard touchdown. So I do think we can get Kendre Miller going a little bit. Kamara is better in the passing game, but we did see Miller start to get off a little bit last week. 11 carries, 61 yards. He's a dog. A lot of people have been talking about it. He needs to get more carries. I think they'll give it to him here. And I think, quite honestly, they're going to win this game. And as a favorite, a small favorite, I do lean to them. But if they're up late, they should be running the ball. And it could be Kamara or Miller. He's under in 3 or 4 games this season. But like I said, last week was really the breakout. I think they'll continue to go to him here.
First down for me, we're going back to that Texans-Ravens game. Look, when this show ends, if you didn't see yesterday's show, we're on a lot here. Go back and watch yesterday's show real quick before kickoff. I really think Woody Marks is going to be in position to go off for the Texans. No Kyle Hamilton, no Roquan Smith. And on the Ravens side of things, no Ronnie Stanley. They're going to try to run Derrick Henry. I don't think it's going to be that successful. Do I think he gets 20 carries? Yeah. Do I think he goes off yardage-wise? No. Do I think Cooper Rush is going to be throwing deep to Rashad Bateman with no left tackle, with a janky right tackle, with no fullback? No. I do think you saw Justice Hill show up a lot in Kansas City. On early downs, if the run's not there, they're going to have to throw the ball to this guy. He can win in space in ways in the pass game that Derrick Henry can't. He's also a dominant pass protector, which Derrick Henry isn't. And with no Lamar Jackson running around back there saving a bad offensive line's ass, and with no left tackle, I just think the screen game is going to be imperative. Even if you go back to the game between these teams on Christmas, when Baltimore ran 43 times for 250 yards and Henry ran 27 times, there was still a script for Justice Hill to win as well. I think we're going to see pony packages with maybe Justice Hill and Keaton Mitchell, or Justice Hill and Derrick Henry on the field at the same time. But they're going to have to attack this defense with high percentage passes. So we're doing a ladder here. We got Hill at 3+. We're not sprinkling. We're also doing a 1-unit play on Hill 4+ at +225. They may have to adopt a 2-minute offense look at various times in this game when it's not really a 2-minute situation. It's a hot day today in Baltimore, and they're going to try to wear this defense out with pace. And yes, a lot of that will be Derrick Henry, the sledgehammer. But we've seen teams run blitz and take Henry away. And especially without Lamar to have to defend in the run game, I think Justice Hill has a prominent role here today. Second down, Ben. Watch yesterday's show. There's a lot of plays on that game in it.
Second down. I am going to go with Cade Otton over receiving yards, 20.5. And a lot of people might ask, why go with the guy who has not done much this year? Go look at how many routes he's run. It's not that, they've sprinkled him in a little bit. He did have 3 catches last week. He also had 3 catches 3 weeks ago, I think. So he's got like 2 games with 3 catches. He's only gone over this number once, but he's also had 2 games with none. I do think Baker's going to go his way, though. When you look at what Seattle has done against tight ends, they've struggled a little bit, and that's been, a pretty common theme with Mike McDonald in wherever he's been. Tight ends just have been able to do some things, and I do think Baker is going to go this way. Godwin is going to get back to himself at some point, but it's not yet. There's some young wide receivers that are making some plays there. Cade Otton is a strong tight end. Like I said, he's been out there when tight ends are on the field, it's him. He's been in the route tree. He's been running. Baker just really has had a lot of success throwing the ball down the field. I don't think Seattle gets gashed deep. I do think it's a lot of short stuff, easy stuff like McDonald's defenses always play. Keep it in front. And I think we get a pretty heavy load of Cade Otton today. Over 20.5 receiving yards in my play.
Second down for me. I think this game gets loose tonight in Buffalo. I think there are over 50 points in this game. Easy. For the sake of this parlay, we're playing it at 43.5. Have I also played same game parlays at 46.5? I have. And am I comfortable with the 49.5? I am. Buffalo scoring over 30 a game this year like they did last year. Buffalo, since the start of last year, averages over 30 a game at home. Josh Allen at home goes nuts. Josh Allen at home in primetime really goes nuts. We're talking about 4 straight primetime games where he's accounted for 3 or more touchdowns himself. We're talking about him throwing for 2 or more touchdowns in 7 of his last 9 at home, 4 of his last 6 against New England. What does this New England defense look like he can do a little bit? Looks like he can stop the run a little bit. I know we can quibble about who they faced, but they're allowing 78 per game on the ground. And I know they've been without their top corner for most of the year, but I'm not buying this secondary, especially against Buffalo. I also think Buffalo is going to trail at some point in this game. I think Buffalo is not going to be able to run it 35 or 40 times and keep pace with New England because Buffalo's defense isn't very good. Why do I like the over so much? Drake May is 11-6 to the over in his career. New England's 8-3 to the over in their last 11. Like Buffalo, over in 9 of their last 11 at home, 10 of their last 13 overall. I mentioned primetime Josh Allen. I think both these teams can score 24. Maybe it's 27, 24. I think it's probably a little more than that. And I think the Bills are going to have to run a little bit of no huddle tempo and get the quick passing game going. Maybe one of those passing touchdowns is to James Cook. It wouldn't shock me. We're seeing a little less of Josh Allen with this hammerhead stuff inside the 10. I do think Cook gets in the end zone. He gets in the end zone pretty much all the time. So that's where we are on this football game. I don't like the 8.5 with Buffalo here. I think New England keeps pace offensively. Buffalo has some injuries to defense, and it's not a special defense. It's just not. And I don't know that they're playing this whole game with the lead where they can bleed the clock on the ground and protect their defense. So I think we're going to see some passing overs for both these teams. Third down, Beltway Ben.
Fully with you there, which kind of gets into this third down play here. I do like New England to cover tonight, 8.5, but we're going to take them to 14.5 just to get us a little bit of breathing room with 2 touchdowns. I feel good with that. And we're also taking TreVeyon Henderson 40-plus rushing and receiving yards. We talked about it on here, or you just broke it down, really. I think New England stays in this game. I really do. Everybody tonight, Sunday night, the end of the betting week, you think you can get us we're going to take Buffalo. Buffalo's at home against a divisional opponent. Mike Vrabel is keeping his team in games. It's what he's going to do. And I like what he's done there, quite honestly. And TreVeyon Henderson, this is a guy that needs to be on the field a little bit more. We saw Ramondre Stevenson struggle with the fumbles. And Vrabel gave the coaches speak. They still trust him. He's still their guy. I think TreVeyon Henderson is going to break out here. I took 40-plus rushing and receiving because I think it could be either way. Buffalo's run defense isn't any good. And they've also struggled a little bit against running backs in the passing game. Why can't TreVeyon Henderson get us, 25 either way and then 15 on the other side? I do think he gets it. We moved it down just a little bit from his regular number to get this, and we added in the Patriots plus 14.5 to get us to plus 102. But to the point before, I do like them plus 8.5, but we'll take 14.5 just to get us plus money here on this prop.
Oh, man, Choppy. I had my laptop sitting on Choppy. Poor Choppy. Saving him for later. I feel a little naked when I don't have my guy sitting right here with me. Third down for me, we are going to this Miami-Carolina game that we talked about earlier in the week. We think this is an over game. Carolina's defense sucks, but Carolina's offense at home is a little better than marginal, is certainly more functional than it is on the road. And Miami's defense has nothing really going for them. So I think this game could get a little manic, could get a little hyper. Miami's run game is still in fits and starts. This guy, if he keeps his job, McDaniel's going to do it because the $60 million quarterback has decent numbers. Tua's been okay lately, right? He's got 3 in a row with 2+ passing touchdowns. Carolina gets no pass rush, right? Tua gets skittish and jittery when he has to fear things. Carolina's got 2 sacks all year. Carolina's allowed 39 passing touchdowns since the start of last year. That's in 21 games. That's obviously problematic. I think Tua's going to be able to carve them, pick them apart. I also think Miami's going to have to keep throwing the ball because I think Bryce Young at home, again, is functional. And I think Carolina can do their part scoring a little bit. And they can't just default to trying to run everything through Chuba Hubbard because he's banged up. And then we've got another corollary to this. This isn't just because Darren Waller caught 2 touchdown passes coming out of mothballs last week. I mean, we obviously noticed that. But it has more to do with Carolina's systematic dysfunction covering tight ends. They've already allowed 285 yards to tight ends this year, 81% completions. Go back since the start of last year. Throwing to tight ends, opponents, 77% completions, 8.9 yards per attempt. Big boy football, 13 passing touchdowns to tight ends since the start of last year. So, yes, we are sprinkling that one of those 2 touchdowns goes to Darren Waller. We'll put a half unit on that. Frankly, I've played it at more than a half unit, but on this show, I'm in a bit of a slump, so I'm trying to recalibrate. But I think they want to show off their new toy in Waller. They want to look smart. He's going to be a red zone matchup problem for a team that can't defend even nominal tight ends. I don't need him running down the field, catching seam routes and stretching stuff, although with no Tyreek Hill, he might. But I think Tua is chucking the ball around on a bad defense. 4th and long or short, Beltway Ben.
Yeah, it'll be, again, I like to get creative on some of these. Here is the longest rush. Derrick Henry's longest rush over 16.5 yards at -112. Was going back and forth whether I wanted to play this or not. Last year with the Ravens, he had 20-plus carries in 8 regular season games, 1 playoff game. Cleared this in all 9. Now, Lamar Jackson played quarterback at that time. Much different situation here. But we need him to get to the secondary one time. Jason gave out the 20-plus carries. That is basically a mutual play because I love that as well. And just let Jason give it out. But I, of course, threw up Meatball for the play there. He's going to get a ton of carries. I don't know how he does not. And if that's the case, you're telling me he's not going to break 1 for 17 yards? It's not like if there's a million reasons why I like Henry today. To be quite honest with you, whether you want to talk about John Harbaugh ripping Monken all week and basically saying they need to run the ball more, whether you want to talk about the injuries, whether you want to talk about the defense, the way that situation is, you want to keep the defense off the field, control time of possession. At some point, Derrick Henry will get to the linebackers and the secondary, and he's going to have to, make 1 or 2 guys miss. And I think he makes a play here. If he gets 20 carries, 17 yards is all we need. 1 time, just 1. I don't need 5. We need 1 carry of 17-plus yards. The number's been low for a while for me. I can't believe that he hasn't gone over it as much this year. He's gone over it twice. The Lions game and the Bills game, both of those were big games. The other 2, Kansas City got 4 carries in the first half. So that kind of explains enough there. I don't see that happening here. I think he gets a ton of carries, and I think he breaks at least 1. I'm not taking his regular yards because it wouldn't surprise me if he has a 24-plus, yard, 24, 25 yard gain on 1 play, and then the rest are around line of scrimmage. That wouldn't surprise me, but we will take him to have over 16.5 at some point.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's going to be an interesting football game here. I think the Houston Texans are winning that football game. 4th and long for me. We haven't done a futures parlay on this show. I'm not sure we've ever done one. Why am I getting in on this now? Well, because we're buying low on the Rams, who, if you were to run the numbers on this same thing before the Rams-Niners game, when the Rams got out to be almost 8-point favorites, you weren't getting any sort of value here. The Rams undermined themselves against the Eagles. They undermined themselves against the Niners. But they've got the best roster in that division. I still think they have the best coach in that division. They have the best quarterback in that division. So that's where I am with that. I like the way the schedule sets up for them, including coming to a wounded Baltimore team next week on extra rest. The Eagles, look, I think Washington could lose to a beat-up Chargers team today, and right now you can get the Eagles around -310 to win the division. I think if the Eagles win today against a good Denver team and Washington loses, that's going to be more like a -500. So I want to get ahead of the curve on that. Similarly, I just said, I think Baltimore is in peril against Houston, right? And Pittsburgh's on a bye. If Baltimore loses to Houston, you're not going to be able to get the plus money on Pittsburgh around individually on its own +165 to win that division. And the Jags are live for me against Kansas City on Monday night. They just are. I think the Colts are not who they showed the first 4 weeks. I think Jacksonville's defense is definitely playoff caliber. And if Liam Cohen can just get Trevor Lawrence to be functional, for the odds we can get on the Jags now. Obviously, if the Jags win Monday night, this is out. You're not going to be able to get 26-54. So we're getting 27-1 on this. And yes, was I biased towards some of these teams coming into the season? Pittsburgh and the Rams? I was. But I like the timing of jumping on this now. Overtime, Beltway Ben.
Yeah, of course we'll do the regular overtime and double overtime as we do on most Sundays. But for regular, the first one, we will start here. Sam Laporta, 4+ receptions. We're on his regular receiving yards. We got it at 37.5. When we gave it to you guys on Wednesday, it's now 39.5. Moved up a little bit. Not a ton, but you still like where we got it at. Rico Dowdle, 40+ rushing yards, and Travion Henderson, 25+ rushing and receiving. Rico Dowdle's facing the Dolphins. Chuba Hubbard is out today. Dowdle is going to have a role in that run game, especially with how bad the Dolphins are against the run. We've seen a lot of teams be able to pick up a lot. We roam Breece Hall Monday night. That cash for us regular at his regular line. I think Dowdle gets going a little bit today. 40 plus should be no issue from RB1 against the bad run defense. Trevion Henderson, we talked about before. 25 should be no issue for him. He's done it in most of his games so far this season. And we're getting these three together because Laporta is minus 150 for 4+ receptions. So it's plus 142 we're getting it at.
You want to just do your double overtime too, or you want me to go overtime first?
We usually just do single, and double, but it's up to you.
Okay, I'll go. So we are one of those games you're on there. I'm on here as well. We were on a Gibbs prop SGP earlier in the week. I like David Montgomery to go off here as well. Look, Lions over 27.5. They're scoring over 30 a game. The last 2 weeks, the Bengals have been losing by 30 a game. Do I think they lose by 30 here? No. I think they bow up to some degree. I'm just not sure how much they're capable of. They have no offensive line. The backup quarterback looks terrible. The defense has got awful. The defense has quit at all three levels. Even if they fight back a little bit, I think they get road graded here. If the Lions take their foot off the gas, and look, Dan Campbell covers big numbers all the time. But if they take their foot off the gas a little bit and just lean to the run game, I think they'll be fine bullying the Bengals that way and still getting us to 28 points. David Montgomery, look, nobody ran the ball against the Browns last week. Nobody runs the ball against the Browns. I get that. But his sister's going to be at this game. His sister's dealt with some serious medical issues. I think it's the first time she's going to watch him play. Dan Campbell's an emotional guy. He's a player's coach. Like, I'm not a huge narrative bettor, but against a defense that's been waving the white flag, he's not going to give this guy a bunch of carries to bang one in. And similarly, the 50, I think he's going to break one up the gut for, he probably goes over his long. He might go over his long more than once. I'm playing at a 50 conservatively. If they get the big lead I think he's going to feed Montgomery and let him do the work and back off of Gibbs a little bit. Doesn't mean I don't think Gibbs still gets in the end zone. And then, look, it's Bet365 where you can play this. I like the over 147.5 team rushing yards. Cincinnati, 6th worst defensive rush defense EPA. 4th worst success rate against the run. 6th worst yards before contact allowed. They're allowing 136 per game. They also haven't faced teams that run the ball like this. It might be a little bit of a let-up spot for the Lions. I still think the power run game carries the day. So that's where we are on that one. You look at what Detroit's done against bad run defenses, Chicago, Baltimore, they've emasculated them. Beltway Ben, double overtime. Overtime.
Yeah, double overtime here. We'll take another few. Josh Downs, 40+ receiving yards. Adonai Mitchell is, I'm not sure what that situation is, but they said he's still going to play today, but he will not be getting, have the involvement that he usually does in the offense. Josh Downs had a little bit of a down year. I do think they get him the ball a little bit more today. So we're taking him up to 40+ because I think he has that, big shot play. He can make the play way down the field and turn things. So I do like Josh Downs, 40+. Kendry Miller, talked about him before, 40+. We take him up. We did this last week. Hurt us with Matthew Golden after catching a 46-yard pass to start the game and not doing much else. Well, he did get us there, but again, you get a negative 4-yard catch. That changed everything. And then Breece Hall, 3+ receptions. Outside of Garrett Wilson, there's not much to throw to there. I just don't know that anybody else in the passing game is going to change things. I think the kid Davis is pretty good for the pass, but Breece Hall can do it all, and they're going to get as much out of him as they can because I don't think he'll be there much longer. So these 3 legs here, plus 564.
Excellent. Double overtime for me. It's just a derivative of what we already have. Look, Montgomery scored in 10 of the 14 games he played in last year. Montgomery's, I think, going to be given an opportunity to show out today. And even if Detroit plays with their foot a little bit, maybe they go to the run and take the air out of the ball too soon against a team that they think they can destroy. When you've got a covering machine like Dan Campbell, who's the #1 road ATS coach in the NFL since he started becoming a head coach in the NFL, or at least a non-interim head coach. Look, so maybe they don't cover the 10, but I still think they win this game by a touchdown or more. Like Browning looks like garbage for Cincinnati. Cincinnati has no offensive line. Cincinnati can't run the ball. And if they have to chuck it 40 times with this guy, he's going to throw some picks. So that's where we are. Ben, let everybody know how we did. Now, I'm fighting it, but feel strong about the plays we have today. We're doing well in soccer. We're going to be hot again in the NFL. We haven't been terrible. Just, Thursday night. I'll never get over the Rams not covering that 2.5. All our bets in real time on the Super Discord. We should have lobster bibs ready to go by hopefully Tuesday, if I'm to believe the shipping notices that I'm getting. What are we thinking for tomorrow, Beltway Ben?
I think early because we have a meeting. Trying to
Do we have a thing with Odyssey tomorrow?
I think so, yes.
Oh, I got to check my Odyssey email then. I've had all kinds of issues. Do we think 10:30 is good?
No, I think it probably have to be before that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to
Do
check
we-
that email. Yeah, but
We'll
I should be good either, no matter what.
We'll be
Okay.
live in the morning, some point in
Okay.
the morning.
We'll let you guys know. We'll be live in the morning. Yeah, we do this every day. Look, you can subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcast, the Odyssey app, wherever you get your stuff. Wow, hoodie request. Don't bet with the Mooks. Hey,
I like that.
I got no issues with that. I like that pup there too. That's a good looking pupper. All puppers are good looking. So look, you want to bet, we want to bet. We really do appreciate you betting with us. Again, even if you don't watch on YouTube, you want to subscribe on the YouTube. Look, we ain't mad.
Or
at
the
you.
same with the podcasting. You don't listen to podcasts, you just want to watch us. Well, still subscribe there. And give us a good 5-star review.
We appreciate all that. You want to bet, we want to bet. Thank you for wanting to bet with us. Again, you got time. We've got a lot of plays on these games from earlier shows if you want to check some of those out. And we will see you tomorrow in the morning, maybe 9, maybe 9:30. We'll let you know. Thank you.